Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Schluraff. I'm the broker owner of Century 21 Ocean. And today I would like to welcome my friend and a great industry expert in the insurance field, Chris Delbridge. He's with Urban Young. He's been educating me a lot on the current insurance market and all the changes and things we're seeing. So today we're going to talk about three topics. The first one basically is can you provide some clarity, Chris, on why our phones are ringing daily from our customers saying, "Oh my goodness, my insurance policy went up, drastically." Chris just told me 46%, and what we're expecting down the road with this and why this is happening.
No, Barbara, thank you, first of all, for having me. I appreciate that. And I'd love to give some clarity on that because honestly, I mean, everyone's getting a piece of paper in the mail and looking at it, and they're having to pay way more than they ever expected for something they can't see, smell, or touch, and that's called insurance. So when it comes to it, I mean, for the past 5 years, we've accounted for, I think it's $15 billion in litigated claims just in Florida alone. I don't have the numbers for last year, but for the year prior to that, we accounted for 86% of the entire nation's litigated claims. And what that means is basically like someone like, I don't want to, throw any shade at any industry, but I'll give you an example of roofer knocking on a door saying, "Hey, if you sign this document, I can get you a free roof if you just pay your deductible." Long story short, that was called an assignment of benefits, where you're giving the rights of the claim to the roofer, and not as the policyholder, you have no more rights to it. So that's a big problem because they were asking a lot of the times for way more than was needed to actually replace the roof. But at the end of the day, they didn't really care most of the time because they would just give it to their plaintiff lawyer, and the attorney multiplier in the state of Florida, I believe it was around like 3 to 1. I've seen a claim that was $85,000 paid. Only $15,000 went to the actual homeowner itself for the roof. The rest went to the roofer and the lawyer, mostly the lawyer. So with the compound effect of that, with a lot of homeowners, obviously in the state of Florida, that's kind of put us in this instance where a lot of companies have had a tough time combating that and scared to not pay the claim, because at the end of the day, they'll just have to pay more in court if they didn't. So it's exhausted a lot of resources with a lot of carriers when they go get their own policy, which is called reinsurance every year, which is basically like, let's say if there was a catastrophe, like an entire, a hurricane went up the entire state of Florida, and insurance companies don't have enough cash on hand to pay their clients or their policyholders. They have to dip into their own policy called reinsurance, which they pay their deductible, and that's how they can pay. So with the amount of claims year over year, every time they go get their own insurance, it's like 50 to 75% higher than the previous year. So that kind of gives a perspective of, hey, this is why you're getting an increase on when you find something in the mail for what you have to pay for the next year. But also in this market, with all these litigated claims, these companies have had to tighten up, which means that anyone buying a new house and needing new insurance, or somebody that gets canceled, non-renewed, anything like that, they have to go to this well where just completely, I mean, there's just not a lot of water in it, to be completely honest with you. So with that, when there's shrinking options, that influences price, which means you pay more for something. And like you were saying, I mean, just from an average within our agency, to give a greater perspective, I mean, we had a 46% increase on homeowners insurance within the agency. We got 14,000 policies. I mean, it's a lot of people. It's not everyone in the state of Florida, but everyone in the entire state is being affected by this. And as you mentioned, we were going to talk about some other stuff, but there are some changes to give a perspective of where things are going from here. But that's kind of, hey, this is why you're getting this thing in the mail, and it's a lot more because these companies are having to pay their own insurance, which means that they have to raise your price for them to pay their price, because of the way that statutes were written in Florida and taken advantage of for a very long time.